Hi, Ange.
And
Hi, I really can't hear you clearly, so I have to call Terry first before I'll start.
I can't see you.
Can you see me?
No, I can't. Where are you?
Oh my God, what's wrong with this? That's okay.
Andrew,
But
can you see the flag?
yeah, I can see the flag.
That's what we're looking at. Can you sit in one of those chairs? One of those seats?
Okay, I'll go there. Yeah, there's no. You can't see me. Only the flag. Maybe. Yeah, it's actually behind Terry. Because they only see the flag, so please.
Hi. Oh, is it not working?
Yeah, they could hear us. Hi?
Hello?
Yeah, they can, yeah, they could hear us. But I think the volume is too low, so I think we.
Yes, I can hear you nice and loud.
Oh, nice.
Let's see if we can hear you, as long as you can hear
And my voice is too loud already.
No.
Because like, oh my God.
That's crazy. All right, I'm just doing a test. Can you, are we good?
Yes, I can hear you nice and clear.
Okay.
Ange, can you hear me?
Low,
It's
right?
still low.
Yeah.
We can, it's still a little low, but let's see if I can.
Your voices are too low.
Let me go get it.
And then they could not see me.
Yeah, now it's, goodness, and I was just speaking away and it was fine. Oh my goodness. This is just.
Did you click on hide the self view? When I showed you that bar at the bottom of the screen, did you click on it to hide it by mistake?
No? It's on, right? It's on. It's on.
Can you turn the camera? Can you turn the camera to turn towards you guys?
Do you see me?
We can only see the flag.
It was fine a couple seconds ago. I don't know. This is crazy. That is so strange.
That's okay. If it's not really working, I'm just gonna
Let me
bring the camera. I mean
bring
the
it.
picture to me in the computer. Yeah. That.
All right, and Diane,
Yes.
you wanted me to reset what course again?
It was 19, and you reset it in the KINS, and I wanted you to reset it in the electronic records.
Okay. So I hope you wrote that down.
Well, that's okay, because that was the chapter I wanted you to look at. I retook it because you reset it, so I retook it, and I'm fine with it.
Okay, good.
But I do need you to set 19 back in the other one.
Okay, so I'll do that now. We just need to turn your volumes down. All right, it's reset.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Ange, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can hear okay?
I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna bring the computer closer to me so I could hear
Well,
you well.
if you can try and adjust the volume on the laptop, is the laptop right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So if you take and go down to the taskbar and see if the volume is turned all the way up.
I think she stopped. She's still talking.
Because I have mine turned all the way up.
That's okay. As long, Terry, it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay, Ange, were there any tests you needed reset that I didn't do?
I didn't check my last chapter. I don't know how much I get. That was very hard because I keep on like the computing thing. It give me a hard time computing something like. I will let you know, Doreen, if I need to reset it.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna log out of Evolve right now then. All right, so all right, so welcome to week 13 of the CMAA class. We are covering chapter 24 and chapter 25 and chapter 6 in the Sim Chart book. So we really only have a few weeks left, and then we're going to, you should get your study guides within the next few weeks that I need to mail you. So, Ange, if you could please email me your mailing address, and Jackie, email me your address, and anyone else online who is listening to this and wanting to take the national exam in the next 6 weeks, email me your mailing address so that I can send you the 2 study guides that you will need to review before the national exams. And you're all supposed to be working on your resumes for the last class. I want you to submit your resumes as well.
If I have it all done, can I send it to you at any time?
Yes, you can.
All right. Will the study guides cover both?
Yes. I will get one for EHR and you will get one for CMAA. Okay, so
I already called the chiropractic. My coverage for chiropractic.
yep, and what did they say?
It's 4,000 deductible per year. Hello?
Was that it?
And then he just told me that, and after, like, I'm gonna pay 10% after, if, I don't know, I forget the rest, but just,
After the $4,000 deductible is met, how many visits did you get?
oh, she did not mention me that. Oh. She just let me know how much the deductible and the percent that I'm gonna pay after that amount. that I'm gonna pay.
Okay.
That's all. It should be specified there, or it should. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they should spell it out for you. All right, so I'm having trouble on my end. Does everyone can see me okay?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 444 in your textbook, Financial and Practice Management. And then just turn down your volumes. All right, let's start on page 445. So what is accounting? Accounting is the system that we use to record and classify and summarize the financial transaction. And bookkeeping is where we record part of the accounting process. You have two general bases of accounting. You have a cash basis and an accrual basis. Your financial summaries will show you how much was earned in a given period, how much was collected, how much is owed, and the distribution of expenses that happen to be incurred during that time frame. Accounts receivable and accounts payable transactions, there are notations such as AR and AP, and these stand for accounts receivable and accounts payable. Your medical assistants should have a general understanding of these transactions. Some of the rules of good of bookkeeping: you should have good penmanship, use the same style of pen and type of ink on a consistent basis. You want to keep columns of figures straight and carry the decimal points correctly. Enter all charges and receipts immediately, and write a receipt in duplicate for any currency that is received. Critical Thinking Application 24-1. Diane, you want to read that for me, please?
Brenda has noticed several errors on encounter forms lately. These errors seem to be the result of staff members not using a calculator to add up the charges when the patient is ready to check out. Brenda has approached the person who assists the patient in this area but has not seen any improvement. How might she convince the employee to follow precautions in adding charges? What are Brenda's options for regarding the employee's job? How might Mr. Smith educate the staff about the importance of accurate financial records?
What do you think, Diane?
If she's already spoken to that person, I would say she should go speak to the manager, because it's really important that those numbers are correct for financial reasons.
Yes. So, some more rules around bookkeeping. Make sure that all the charges and the receipts are posted to the patient ledger daily. Endorse all the checks upon receipt. Pay the expenses by check except small charges, and do not erase, write over, or blot out figures. The chronological record of the practice. This is where your daily sheet is a daily journal for the practice, and it can use a manual pegboard system where you record every transaction. Receipts are usually deposited in the checking account. A record of the deposit is entered in the journal and on the check register, and make sure you keep a copy of each deposit slip. What we must show is every amount paid out, the date and the check number, and the purpose of the payment. You should have a system for minor unpredictable expenditures, and there should be one in charge of petty cash, and keep cash in a box or a locked drawer. Your single entry accounting system requires 3 basic records, usually a general journal, a cash payment journal, and an accounts receivable ledger. A general journal is a record where the transactions are entered. Cash payment journal is a record that is used to make the payments. And then accounts receivable ledger provides information about the amounts owed to physicians. Your double entry accounting system usually requires a trained, experienced bookkeeper or accountant. You usually have numerous subsidy journals being used. Your accounting equation for a double entry system. Every transaction requires an entry on each side of the accounting equation, so 2 sides must always be in balance. Accounting terms. What is an asset, Jackie?
Properties owned by a business, such as a bank account, accounts receivable, buildings, equipments, and furnitures.
Okay, and what is an equity, Ange?
It's called the capital, the proprietorship or owners, the equities of the creditors to whom may. Oh yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is capital, Diane?
First one, the tweeting is coming from my computer, so every time I put my speaker on, it's gonna tweet. Capital
Yes.
is things you already own.
All right. End of day summarizing is usually a proof of posting. This deals with transactions that occurred that day on a day sheet. Month-to-date accounts receivable proof, adding the day's totals to month-to-date totals that should balance to the penny. Your year-to-date accounts receivable proof, this is adding the accounts, including the day's totals, to year-to-date total. Your trial balance of accounts receivable, this should be done once a month. The purpose is to disclose any discrepancies between journal and ledger. Pull all account cards with a balance, enter each balance in a calculator, and total figures. They should equal accounts receivable balances, figuring on the control. To locate and prevent your errors, you want to find the difference between the 2 totals. Search your daily journal pages and your account cards for the entry for the identical amount. You want to check each one that's found and verify it was posted correctly. Some of your common errors include transposed figures, entering the wrong amount in previous balance column, or in figuring a new balance. If you're unable to locate that numeric error, account card might have been overlooked. Invoices and statements. Packing slips usually describe the items enclosed in the shipment. Your invoice will describe the items and shows the amount due. You want to verify that items listed on the packing slip and invoice are included. A statement is a request for payment. When you're recording disbursements, it could be many things, anywhere from auto expenses, equipment, insurance, office expenses, rent and maintenance, salaries. Accounting for petty cash, a check written payable to cash or petty cash and entered in disbursements journal under miscellaneous. Each time the fund is replenished, the amount of the check is spread among various accounts for which money was used. A pad of petty cash vouchers is kept in or near the cash box. A pad of petty cash vouchers, you want to make sure that the petty cash vouchers and the receipts plus the amount of cash in the box should always equal whatever the amount that you say is going to be in that box. Some common periodic financial reports, a statement of income and expense, a cash flow statement, trial balance, accounts receivable trial balance, and aging analysis, balance sheet. These are all some periodic reports. Your payroll records, social security number of employee, number of withholding allowances, the amount of gross salary. Payroll reporting forms, each employee and each employer must have a tax ID number. Your W-4 form, what's a W-4 form, Jackie?
The W-4 is what the employee's withholding allowance, 1 for yourself, 2 if you have a husband and wife. It's whatever you want to take out of your system. Could be married, could be single. That would be whatever you choose for what you file.
Income tax withholding, this is employers who are required by law to withhold certain amounts from employee earnings. The amount to be withheld is usually based on the total earnings of the employee, number of withholding allowances, the marital status, length of pay period involved. Your employer's income tax, this is a physician practicing as an individual who is not subject to withholding tax but is expected to make an estimated tax payment that's 4 times the year. The employer also contributes to Social Security and Medicare in the form of self-employment tax. Your FICA, what is FICA, Jackie?
That is Federal Insurance Contributions Act.
Okay, quarterly returns. What are quarterly returns, Ange?
Quarterly, where is it? It's a each quarter of the year, all employers subject to income tax withholding of Social Security and Medicare taxes must file an employer's quarterly federal tax return, Form 941, before the last day of the first month after the end of the quarter. Due dates for this return and full payment of the tax are April 30, July 31, October 31, and January 31.
Very good. What is federal unemployment tax, Diane?
Employers who contribute under the Federal Unemployment Tax Act, generally credit can be given against the FUTA tax for amounts paid into the state unemployment fund up to a certain percentage. Employers are responsible for paying the FUTA tax. It must not be deducted from employees' wages. For 2012, the tax was 6.2% of the first $7,000 in wages paid to the employee during the calendar year.
Very good. Budgets, it's usually a good idea to establish a budget before the beginning of each fiscal year. And to look at expenses from the previous year, you want to divide the expenses into categories with total derived for each category. What are some of the categories for an operating budget? Insurance, rent, depreciation, loan payments, advertising, legal and accounting. Over on page 454, you see some of the budget categories. So critical thinking application 24-8. Jackie, can you read that and answer the first one for me, please?
Brenda has developed a primarily preliminary budget for the next year. She realizes that several pieces of equipment needed to be replaced. However, Dr. Wilkins has said she does not want to make any capital purchases over the next 2 years. What might Brenda approach Dr. Wilkins about the needed equipment? And how might leasing equipment benefit the office? And how can Brenda determine whether this would be a more or less expensive than purchasing the equipment? That's what I was going to say. Maybe she could look into leasing them. They don't have to repair them. It's a lot cheaper. She could probably get some information from different companies what the prices would be. And then she might go up to the Dr. Wilkins and say, look, this is what I've found. Maybe this might be an option for us to get the equipment that we need. And if we like it, then we can maybe buy it outright or buy one, a brand new one. And it gives them time to try it out and see if they like it.
Good. Okay. And critical thinking application 24-8, number 2. Read that one and answer that one for me, please.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Page 454.
Okay.
Critical thinking application 24-8. The second one. Can you read that and answer it, please?
Okay. How might leasing equipment benefit the office? How can Brenda determine whether this could be more or less expensive than purchasing the equipment? I think the leasing is more cheaper than buying a brand new one, and in order to Brenda determine whether it's less expensive or than leasing an equipment, I think Brenda should call the vendor or call the company or ask about the prices and look for a comparison.
Okay. Insurance coverage is one of the physician's most largest expenses. Your malpractice insurance is for protection against the cost of legal liabilities. Then you have property and fire insurance, and then workers' compensation insurance. So it's important for the entire staff to be conscious of costs that are involved in operating the medical office. We want to adhere to the respective budgets as closely as possible, so really no different than, our daily lives, and attempt to save money and resources wherever possible. Educate the patients about basic costs that are involved with procedures that are performed in the office. These may be set more at ease by actually knowing that the physician does not set his fees arbitrarily. Some of the physicians actually require the person placed in charge of the office finances to be bonded. And records must be accurate and completed on a daily basis. Any questions in regard to Chapter 24? vocabulary on Chapter 24. Number 1 should be fiscal. We're on page 185 in the study guide. Number 2 should be receivable. 3, payable. 4, assets. 5, bookkeeping. 6, invoice. 7, cash. 8, imbalance. 9, balance. 10, accrual. 11, disbursements journal. 12, statement. 13, trial balance. 14, petty cash. 15, income and expense. 16, control. 17, cash flow statement. 18, disbursements journal. 19, liability. 20, equity. And 21, admonition. Do I need to repeat any?
I think I'm good.
What? Okay, short answers. The financial records of any business should have the following at all times. How much was earned in a given period, how much was collected, how much is owed, and the distribution of expenses incurred. Number 2, the answers should be well-formed figures. Number 3, every amount paid out, the date and check number, and the purpose of payment. Number 4, single entry, double entry, and pegboard or write it once. Number 5, accounting is a system of recording. Bookkeeping is mainly recording, the recording part of the accounting process. 6, 3 cardinal rules of bookkeeping. You could have had any one of these. You just needed 3. Use good penmanship. Use the same pen and ink style. Keep columns straight. Write well-formed figures. Enter charges and receipts immediately. Endorse checks as soon as they are received. Pay most expenses other than small incidentals by check. Do not erase, blot out, or write over figures. And do not work on financial records when distracted. There are 2 disadvantages of a single entry system. Errors are not easily detected. The system has no built-in controls, and periodic analyses are inadequate for financial planning. Number 8, some of the answers should read Social Security number, number of withholding allowances claimed, amount of gross salary, and record of all types of deductions. A 940 form is an annual federal unemployment tax act. It's a FUTA return. It must be filed on Form 940 or before January 31st after the close of the calendar year for which the tax is due. 7 expense categories often found in a physician's office budget. I listed those for you in the book. They range from insurance to taxes. I forget which page, but you have them in there. The 3 types of bookkeeping systems, those are in your books: single entry system, double entry system, pegboard or write it once. The forms, I'm going to tell you right now that I see we're having an issue with the recording. The screen keeps cutting in and out, and I just got a quality low message. So if for some reason I lose all of you and I'm allowed to still record, I will still record and then send it out to all of you afterwards. Okay? Forms, number 1, part 3 forms. Should be an SS5 application for Social Security number. 2 is a W-2. It's a wage and tax statement. It's given to each employee. 3 is a W-3 transmittal of income and tax statement. And 4, W-4, employees withholding allowance certificate. I don't think I had you do the works case study, correct?
I did mine.
That's fine. Workplace applications, multiplication problems, that's all good. All right. Let's move on to chapter 25. Hmm, 25 is practice management and human resources. Yeah, everything keeps cutting in and out. I don't know how I sound on your end. I'm watching everything flicker.
You sound fine for me. My screen's doing the same thing.
Well, I know that they're having an information night tonight, and all of the adult eds have been invited via Jabber and Tamber.
Ah.
So we'll make it work, okay? As best that we can. Okay, medical office management and human resources. Page 457 in your textbook. The office manager. The office manager is able to perform all tasks in the office. They have good people management skills. So who's usually in charge? The size of the practice determines the number of employees. The chain of command designates administrative and clinical duties. So what are some qualities of an effective manager? Jackie, what do you think?
The preparing for updates, how they can figure out problem areas, how they can try to make things better, how like if there's problems within the staff, if there's ways that he or she can help them get better at it, good judgment, health, ability to organize, willing to learn, possess ideas, leadership, fair with the employees, flexible, sense of fairness, cares for the employees, remains calm, opens to constructive criticism, and has good communication skills, good listening skills, and is approachable.
Very good. Okay, so some of the duties actually would be to prepare and update policy and procedure manuals, make sure that employees follow those manuals, develop job descriptions, recruit new employees, perform orientation and training, conduct performance and salary reviews, dismiss employees, plan staff meetings, maintain staff harmony, and the list goes on page 459. The power of influence. A successful manager is interested and enjoys people, and they usually help employees achieve their goals, and they give credit to the employees' ideas. So on page 459, critical thinking application 25-1. When Catherine began as Dr. Collins' office manager, she found several supportive employees, but a few were concerned about their new boss. How can a new manager help employees be at ease during the first few weeks? What do you think, Ange?
How can a new manager help employees? I think they I have I'm blacked out right now. So
Well,
I
if
think
you're a new employee, what do you think you would like your new office to do for you to make you feel welcome?
hello.
Yeah, I'm here. What do you think you would want your new employer to, what would you want them to do to make you feel welcome?
Yes. I think if there's a there's new manager, something like that, or a new employee, then I should let him feel that he or she is welcome, and I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Doreen.
What do you think, Diane?
I think that at the beginning, she should just observe and not make any major changes right away. Try to let them get to know her and her to get to know them. Him, vice versa. Get to know them and, take it from there. I actually had that experience when I took over a room and they were all paranoid about me. And once they got to know me and what I expected from them, and it all went well.
I have been told that I am very intimidating and unapproachable. So, so the manager as a leader is meant to nurture others, and a leader believes in others' abilities, and they listen well to others. Some of the styles of management are democratic, autocratic, and laissez-faire, over on page 460. So the democratic person is willing to listen and is open to opinions. The autocratic makes demands and insists on his or her way. And the laissez-faire is easygoing and does not micromanage. So theories X, Y, and Z. Theory X. Theory X suggests that humans dislike work and they avoid it when possible. Your workers must be pushed, but they prefer to be directed. Theory Y, the people enjoy work and they seek responsibility. So this applies to managers and other professionals. Just mute your microphones for now, ladies.
Oh yeah, I really can't hear you clearly. Like it's the voice are bouncing.
Okay. Theory Z considers characteristics such as long-term employment, collective decision-making, and individual responsibility. This is usually a holistic view of the employee and his or her new family. Maslow's hierarchy of needs on page 460. Physiologic needs are met with lunch breaks, rest times, and days off. The safety needs are met by having a safe workplace and security through savings, health insurance, and retirement programs. The social needs are met through interactions with coworkers, teamwork, and office work events. The self-esteem needs are met through feeling valued and recognized through good work. And then self-actualization needs are met through setting higher goals and working toward them. The factors that actually lead to job dissatisfaction might be company policy, supervision, and relationship with supervisors. Might also be work conditions or salary or relationship with coworkers. The 3 points that might help regarding job motivation. The job must be satisfying and motivate the employees to grow and reach their capabilities. Employees who show greater ability should be given more responsibility. And if the job does not allow the employee to use his or her full ability, a different employee who can grow and find motivation in the work should be placed in that position. So some leading during transitions and change over on page 461. Change happens. We want to anticipate that change, monitor that change, and adapt to that change quickly. Move with the change, enjoy the change, and be ready to change again quickly and enjoy it again. The best thing that you can do in a position is all of that. Honestly, if you can anticipate it, monitor it, adapt to it, move with it, and enjoy it, and just be ready for whatever comes, you are going to be one of the best employees ever. Because those types of employees who can kind of just go with the flow and not feel so overwhelmed by the littlest thing makes it that much nicer to work. Okay? Because then I know that I have someone who has my back, can kind of multitask, go with the flow, and not worry about the little things. Because when we're in a medical practice setting, we're there to take care of the patient. So our focus is on patient care in the moment. It can't be thinking about, you know, how the other person looked at me because I answered them maybe too curtly. Well, I'm trying to answer the phone, I'm trying to check someone out, and I'm trying to get a patient to the next room and get the paperwork the doctor needs to refer or get records. So when another staff member comes up and I answer them too curtly, I don't mean to, and afterwards, if I catch myself, I will apologize about it. But if that staff member is always taking that type of situation to heart and personal, then there's really no room for that person to be there, because we need to work as a team. We need to go with the flow. And it's like, okay, we're anticipating this is what needs to be done. We all have a job. And who's going to be doing that job? And if that person steps out, who can step in to do it? That type of thing. Okay. It's almost like you see those, you see it in the news and stuff like that when we have these big floods, all right? And they fill sandbags, and then they take those sandbags and they're making a wall, or they're putting them up along somewhere, and you see this line of people, okay? And believe it or not, everyone in that line has a job. It might just be, lifting and moving those sandbags down the line, but that's kind of like what it is in a medical practice. Everyone has a position, and if someone gets out of that line, someone else is ready to step in and fill that position. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I happen to need to leave the front desk for some reason and go help the doctor with a patient, then one of my coworkers should be able to jump right in and fill that front desk position, answering the phone, scheduling the appointment, collecting the money, you name it. If I need to be on the floor to assist the doctor with patients, and someone else was needing something, I should be able to ask a staff member to just step in and take care of that. So you have to think about, in a medical practice, everything is not ever changing, but there's constant flow. You really are not still for any long period of time. You always have something that you can be doing. And I like to think of it this way. We have what are considered to be the 3 P's in your practice.
Peace.
3 P's. It's not in this book. It won't be anywhere in this course. But this is what I have learned and really think is important when you're in a practice. The 3 P's are patient care time, or prime time. That is what is considered to be when we see the patients. So when you schedule the patients from 9 to noon and then 2 to 6, that is considered patient prime time. And then we have what's called prep time. Prep time is that time in between that is quiet, or that is designated specifically for prep time. So we can return phone calls. We can do administrative work, such as do record copies requests, call to make referrals, call on insurance benefits, meet with the doctor, meet with other staff members, whatever is prep time. And then the 3rd P is playtime. Because if you don't have good playtime, you don't get refreshed, rejuvenated, and be able to be productive. Okay?
Okay.
So the role of power. Someone have a question? Okay. The role of power on page 461. You have coercive power, granting rewards, expert power, legitimate power, and referent power. Coercive is more manipulative. Granting is a more positive use of power. Expert is where the leader is knowledgeable about a subject. And legitimate is that position or status. Referent power is granted from subordinates to those who lead by example. So when we have an abuse of power and authority, it is usually using people as tools, relating only to inner circle of decision makers, not seeing one's mistakes, seeing things only as black and white, false humility, and hiring only yes people. The power of motivation. There's a whole list of things there. Challenge, money, praise, satisfaction. Diane, what is your power of motivation? What motivates you in a job?
I like a challenge.
Okay. What about you, Jackie?
I like satisfaction.
And what about you, Ange?
I think I'm family.
Power of motivation. All right. So your new office manager over on page 462, getting used to a new supervisor can be pretty stressful. The new manager should first observe and slowly make changes, hold meetings to gain employee input, and then make the employees feel part of a team. To create a team atmosphere, you want to keep your employees in the loop, improve morale with events including employee families, and communicate well with staff. There are 5 essential elements of teamwork. You have mutual accountability, common purpose and performance goals, small size, common approach, and complementary skills. The use of incentives, employee recognition. Incentives give employees reason to perform over and above level expected. Recognition improves morale, encourages excellent performance. Your problem employees over on page 463. Counseling is the first step to resolution. You want to redirect with patience and understanding and establish a set of regimen of steps. Also document all warnings and reprimands. To prevent burnout, make sure you ask for help. You want to devote specific times to introspection or meditation. You want to understand what can be changed and what cannot be changed. Get some exercise. Organize and prioritize your tasks and list tasks that are displeasing and delegate them to others. The list on page 464 continues. I'm not going to go through all of those. Keeping the management relationship professional, have good rapport with employees without becoming too close. Difficult to reprimand an employee who is a friend. Keep the relationship professional at all times and act as liaison while relaying all important information to the physician. That's not what to do. All right. Some of the laws affecting employment. You have the Fair Labor Standards Act. You have Occupational Safety and Health Act. You have Workers' Compensation, Family Medical Leave Act, Pregnancy Discrimination, Americans with Disability, and Age Discrimination Act. Over on page 465, understanding the needs of the office. You want to ask what qualities the physician desires to fill a position. Keep a file of resumes for when openings occur, externs, usually from local medical assisting schools, and list all of the qualifications and responsibilities in your job ad. When you review those resumes and applications, divide them into 3 stacks, 1 to call for interviews, 1 for maybes, and 1 for rejected applications. You want to look for gaps in the employment history and explanations, and watch for inconsistencies and oversights. Some of the questions to answer before interviewing on page 465 on the right-hand column. What are some personal qualities and abilities the applicant must have? That is something you need to go over as a team. All of these questions that they have here, what are you looking for? When you review the final applications, are they in handwriting and grammar? Do they meet your standards? Has the applicant been employed previously? What are the duties they performed? If they were previously employed, how long were they in that position? Okay? All right. Pre-screening. You want to call to arrange an interview? The actual interview on page 468. You want to put the applicant at ease. Can you girls hear me okay in Scarborough?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So avoid stressful interviews, ask open-ended questions. Your follow-up activities on page 469. Take a few moments to rate the applicant, jot some notes down. Be objective and fair. Check all the references and follow through on any leads. Some of the questions for references. When did the applicant work for you? For how long? What were their duties and responsibilities? Did the employee assume responsibility well? When you're making the selection on page 470, do they use grammar well and enunciate? Are their manners appropriate? What is their professional appearance? What is their work history? You want to match them to the required job skills. Are they friendly and personable? Some paperwork for new employees, job application, an I-9, a W-4, notice of workers' compensation coverage. You might go over agreements regarding pay, notice of at-will, employment status, acknowledgement of ethics statement, anything regarding OSHA. With the job description, you want to list the essential functions of the job over on page 471. Reveal the chain of command to follow when questions or concerns arise. Include a statement that says employee must perform any additional duties as assigned by the supervisor. Your staff development training, there should be continuous training and staff development. This is vital, and your employees must keep up to date. The delegations of duties are to make sure that it's delegated to your subordinates, which allows your managers to concentrate on the critical aspects of their jobs and also provides an opportunity to the employees to grow and learn new skills. When you are using performance reviews effectively on page 474, you want to grant a probationary period to your new employees and set a performance date review. The negative and positive information. You want to sandwich the negative information between 2 positive comments. Use the feel, felt, found approach. Make sure that you have good documentation of problems that led to poor evaluation. You want to review with that employee the specific times, dates, and descriptions of the incidents. Your peer evaluations can promote teamwork and cooperation on page 477. Terminating employees, provide a warning and chance to improve first. The person who does the hiring should do the firing. Follow your office policy manual, whatever that indicates. Explain why employment is being ended and listen to the employee's feedback. Fair salaries and raises on page 479. You want to recruit the employees who will remain with the office for a long time. They must pay a fair salary with regular raises. Merit raises are increases based on an employee's commendable performance, and the cost of living increases are given when earned. Your staff meetings should be no less frequently than quarterly. Usually you have a lot of great ideas being passed around for improvement coming from the staff. You want to meet I would say at least weekly, and have someone take notes and have a simple agenda to follow. Some of your meeting agenda should be reading of the last meeting minutes, discuss any of the unfinished business, discussion of any problems in the clinical area, discussion of any problem in the administrative area, and discussion of any problems in the common areas, and then an adjournment. Patient information booklet that could be easily designed to fit in a number 10 business envelope. You want to include your statement of philosophy and description of the practice over on page 480. You want to describe also any office policy regarding appointments, cancellations, calls, answering service, provisions for emergency procedures, list all the physicians, staff, background. If you have a financial policy folder, tailor that financial policy to the specific practice. You want to send it out, the first monthly statement. Spell out your policies regarding billing and collection procedures. State the ultimate responsibility for payment lies with the patient. Patient instruction sheets. Prepare for an X-ray procedure or laboratory test. Your pre- and post-operative instructions and your diet sheets over on page 481. Medical Practice Acts. You want to define what is included in the practice of medicine in that state. We don't have to go that far in specialty practices. It's extra information if you want to provide it. Physician licensure on page 482. This is a license to practice medicine or chiropractic is granted by a state board. This might be accomplished by examination, reciprocity, or endorsement. And every state requires medical doctors to pass a written exam. Some states grant the license to practice medicine by reciprocity. When we have an endorsement, the state offers a license to a physician based on exams taken to grant the license, not by virtue of the license granted from another state. Exemptions on page 482, top right hand column. Some graduates do not want to practice medicine. They prefer to research or do administration. In these cases, the licensure is not required. Your registration and pre-registration. Re-registration is required annually or biannually. It aids the physician by being aware of when registration fees are due, preventing a possible lapse of registration. Many states require a proof of continuing education in addition to payment of a registration fee. Your revocation or suspension, there are certain conditions that these might be revoked or suspended. conviction of a crime, unprofessional conduct, personal or professional incapacity. You want to educate the patients in the policies and procedures of the office by providing them with an information folder or brochure. You want to stay abreast of current employment laws and regulations and document your employee performance and communicate about poor performance. I want to go back to the critical thinking application on page 4. Give me one moment. Page 471, critical thinking application 25-7. Catherine is bringing in a new employee who must begin work on the following Monday. Because the staff has been short one person for approximately 2 weeks, however, Catherine will be going on vacation the same day. How can she ensure that the new employee is trained properly? Jackie, what do you think?
I would make sure that she has her best person that's in the office that feels that she's competent. Write like what she wants her to do, kind of like a to-do list, and check in maybe while she's on vacation. Just say, you know, hey, I'm just wondering how's the new girl doing. I'm glad everything's going good, and then go on with the vacation.
Very good. All right, page 477. Critical thinking application 25-8. While Catherine is explaining to a particularly poor employee why Catherine plans to terminate her, the employee begins screaming and accusing Catherine of discrimination and harassment. How should Catherine handle this situation? What do you think, Diane?
She needs to remain calm and try to get her to calm down and leave the establishment.
Yes. And what are Catherine's options if the employee does not stop the inappropriate behavior? Jackie?
Tell her that if she doesn't calm down, that they're going to escort her out, because that's not what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to talk as adults.
Right. All right. So that's it for chapter 25. For next week, I want you to do 26. 26 is short. 27. Let's do 26, 27, and 28. I think we can do that. The last one is career development and life skills. I think we can do all 3 of those for next week. Let's go over the answers to the study guide for chapter 25, right? Medical practice management and human resources, page 191 in your study guide. Vocabulary, number 1, incentives. 2, latent. 3, motivational. 4 is retention. 5 is morale. 6, insubordination. insubordination. 7 is targeted. 8 is mentor. 9, agendas. 10, appraisals. 11, burnout. 12, embezzlement. 13, cohesive. And 14, chain of command. And 15 is meticulous. All right, on office managers, why is it a good idea to have one person in charge of the office operations? Jackie, what do you think?
The physician has only one person to deal with and lets the manager take responsibilities for the office. And employees, instead of everyone coming to see him, they'll go see the manager.
Right. Okay. Most management problems can be prevented by carefully defining the areas of authority and employee responsibilities. What usually happens if a manager helps employees get what they want and need from a job? The manager usually gets what he or she wants and needs as well. The employees will strive to make the manager look good when the manager is supportive of the employees. The answer to number 4 is effective leaders. You have 3 basic types of leaders: charismatic, transactional, and transformational. You have 3 types of power: coercive, expert, legitimate, and referent. Coercive is where the leader is manipulative. Expert, when the leader is knowledgeable. Legitimate is derived from position or status. And referent is granted by subordinates to those who lead by example. The office manager, number 7, answer is documentation. 5 ways to motivate employees. Diane, give me 2.
Responsibility and praise.
Okay. And what is a yes person, Jackie?
Yes person agrees with whatever the manager says and wants to have done.
Yes, a yes person agrees with everything the manager says. And the most effective way to improve employee morale is good communication with employees. Part 2, hiring and terminating employees. Number 1 is mouth. 2 is telephone. 3, handwriting. 4, ease. 5, professional. 6, credit. 7, orientation and training. 8, descriptions. 9, alone. And 10, 3. Part 3, leading during transitions and change. Number 1 is change happens. 2, move. 3, monitor. 4, adapt. 5, enjoy. And 6, change. Your meeting agendas. You should first read the minutes from the last meeting. Then discuss unfinished business. then discuss problems in the clinical area, the administrative area, and the common areas, any discussion of new business, and then adjournment. All right. All right, any questions on these two chapters, ladies?
Doreen, I have a question.
Sure.
Not so much about these chapters. When you work in the office, do you guys have like your own computers and everybody shares one computer, or do you have your own computers with like specific information for you?
You have your own computer that you work on the majority of the time, but we set it up so that when we can access a computer anywhere in the office. Because I might be helping patients, I might be at the front desk, and with HIPAA, you actually have to have a unique login and user ID for every system. You can't be logged in underneath someone else's user ID and password.
So as soon as you leave, you lock out or alt
I
control
log
delete?
off, yes. So in the majority of the offices that I work in, I do have a specific place where I set up and I do work. When I do work remotely, I usually will log into that computer and do work on that computer. But when I'm in the office, if I'm not working on that computer, I'm logged off of it so that if someone else needs to go work on it, they can work on it. Okay? All right. Let's talk about electronic health records. How did everyone find the homework for electronic health records? And can you tell me how you did?
I think I have no question. So far, good. Yeah.
So far, so good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How about you, Jackie?
Yeah, I'm getting into it now that I can keep all my patients where they belong, and kind of getting used to it and clicking out the patients. That's another thing that I didn't notice is the patients come up and you can only put 2 patients at a time. So it took me a little while to say, wow, how come I can't do it? And then the 2 patients kept coming up. So now I click them both out so I can have as many patients as I want. So it took me a little while, and I'm getting comfortable in that part.
Good. Good. All right. And how about you, Diane?
It's going good.
How far are you?
I have 8 chapters left.
Okay,
Oh.
good.
I have one question I forgot to tell you.
Sure.
I have 2 patient demographics for Susan Ling, and then I delete the other one. How can you delete the patient's demographics? Record.
I'm not sure. You might have to call Evolve and find out.
Okay.
You can try it on your own, and if it doesn't work, try and call Evolve.
I did try.
And what'd they say?
I know I did try to look what to do, like what could I find to delete it, but I couldn't find it. So I think I better call Evolve about it.
Okay. All right, so chapter 6 is all about clinical use of the health record. All right, so what you will find in this chapter is that it will describe the benefits of the documentation, explain the role of speech recognition software, which some places might use, what are the components of the medical, surgical, family, and social history, what is the chief complaint and history of present illness, how to enter allergies, medications, and intolerances, what are some of the components of a patient's vaccination history, how should it be included in the chart, and describe how to record vital signs and anthropometric measures in the EHR. You also will take diagnoses and treatment more efficiently. It helps you to do patient safety and reducing medical errors. It serves as risk management function by providing evidence of communication, and the proper documentation in the EHR allows for some items such as your health history, your progress notes, your patient letters, patient instructions, and all of these things can be linked. So on page 137, voice recognition. There are some practices and places that actually will use voice recognition. This does allow for the user to use a hands-free system. It will eliminate the problem of misplaced or misfiled patient notes. It decreases the rate of your transcription mistakes, and it actually helps to lower the cost of transcription because the doctor is able to do it and put it right in the chart. It also will reduce the amount of time necessary to complete documentation. Documenting remote patient-provider encounters. This can be a telephone documentation. So the patient calls up, I do a speech to text, medication refill, soap calls, patient treatment questions. If there's a visit, I can use web visit or online consulting. I can monitor chronic diseases, stuff like that. Documenting in the patient record, as you see in your SIM chart, this is the most like an actual visit. You have 3 types of encounters. You have the comprehensive visit, the office visit, and the phone consult. You also probably have done allergies. If not, you will be doing them. You have environmental, seasonal, contact, and food allergies over on page 140. You want to verify these at every visit and then document any corresponding reactions. So when you walk into your doctor's office, they sit and they ask you, has anything changed from last time? Any new allergies we need to know about? Any new medications? And so on. When you are documenting the patient history, you want to document the medical and surgical history, their family history, and their social history. So you do have exercises in your SIM chart book. Those are the ones I would like you to be doing as well. The chief complaint. The chief complaint on page 145. Chief complaint is C or CC. This is usually the patient's main reason for seeking medical care in your office. So you would use the record drop-down box to add a new CC or chief complaint. You would enter the symptoms. So what are the troublesome symptoms? They might have pain, breathing difficulties, dizziness. How long has the patient had the problem or illness? What's the duration? What is the timing of it? Have the symptoms been persistent or intermittent? And what are some of the modifying factors? What makes the symptoms better or worse? The pain scale, the 5th vital sign. It describes quality of pain on a scale of 1 to 10. They use the Long-Baker scale for children. A problem list over on page 147. Okay, this is also for part of the meaningful use requirements. It allows the provider to identify most of the significant health concern. It identifies the disease-specific populations. It helps to evaluate standard measures for providers and organizations, which is also part of the MU program. It also identifies patients for possible research studies. Your medications, patients that may be on medications from more than one provider on page 148. This is vital to keep the medication record current. You want to record the reasons for any discontinuing medications. The immunization history on page 150, you want to document both the childhood and adult immunizations. The HR is a good tool for tracking immunization history and when new immunizations are due. The immunization documentation, they ask you for the name of the immunization and then who was the person who administered it, when was it given, what was the location of it, is there a category, manufacturer, type, expiration date, and lot number. That might be part of your information that you enter into the system. When you're using the EHR for patient education, you might have websites or literature or documentation that you have created or found and it's scanned in, or you just use the link. In the EHR, it will contain both the health data that's collected as well as anything that looks relevant to the patient for information. So I'll just give you an example of what I created last week for a provider. This particular provider uses these two websites all the time for the patients, and there's nothing wrong with it because the website has a lot of information on it. So we chose that website, we put the link into the patient's EHR, and then we have the option to send it to the patient portal. So when the patient accesses their information on the patient portal, they will see that the doctor has sent them information about a particular instruction on exercise or blood pressure or a supplement, and that counts as part of the MU program, because patient education is part of the MU program. But it has to be documented. Just because the doctor said it doesn't mean it happened. It has to be documented. Vital signs, they need to be recorded at the start of every visit. Your height, weight, blood pressure, BMI, temperature, pulse, respirations, that type of stuff. Your progress note on page 157, 158. The subjective. So the subjective is what the patient tells you. So I came in because I have shortness of breath. The objective, information that can be observed, measured, or collected. So your vital signs. So if I'm coming in with shortness of breath, you might see me walking really slow, bent over a little bit, and trouble breathing. Assessment, summation of the diagnosis or the impression of what is wrong with the patient. So patient appears to be having difficulty breathing. Patient expresses tight chest, shortness of breath, very labored. And then what is the plan? The steps the provider plans to take the treatment. So it might be an epinephrine shot. It might be using a nebulizer with some albuterol sulfate. And then once all that is documented, there is a digital signature. And this is, the note is signed electronically. The provider is representing that everything within the note is correct, and the notation of when it was signed and by whom is shown below the signature line on that saved note. So as you can see by all the work that you've been doing, the EHR is a pretty good system. They've come a long way. Any questions? All right, let's do the chapter review on page 163. 164. One moment, please. All right, number 1. William comes to the office for the 4th time this year with bronchitis. Because this condition is recurrent, it is considered chronic. Kimberly is complaining of an allergic reaction to an insect bite. This would be an acute condition. 3, Beverly reports having chickenpox when she was 11 years old. This is documented in the patient's past medical history. And number 5, Richie had called to make an appointment for a sore throat for 10 days. Upon questioning the patient, he also mentions difficulty swallowing and post-nasal drainage. The patient's chief complaint is a sore throat. Post-nasal drainage, difficulty swallowing. All right, match the term in column A to the definition in column B. 1 is D. 2 is A. 3 is H. 4 is I. 5 E. 6 C. 7 F. 8 G. 9 J. 10 K. And 11 B. All right, true or false? Number 1 is true. Number 2, true. 3 is false because e-visits are not illegal, but it is up to the payer whether it is a reimbursed benefit. Number 4, false, because EHR systems use several types of data entry. You have structured and unstructured data entry that is available in your SIM chart. 5 is true. 6 is false. Voice recognition software eliminates the need for a medical assistant to transcribe progress notes, but that does not mean you still are not needed because you will have to go in and review the notes and make sure they're correct. 7 is false. The chief complaint is the main reason for the patient visit. 8 is true. 9 is false. 10 is false. 11 is true. And 12 is false.
Doreen, what was 9 again?
9 was false. All right, if you did the workplace applications, did any of you do those?
I did number 3.
Okay. Number 3. Paige is performing a patient interview. Determine whether the given data is part of the patient's personal, family, or social history. Smokes 1 pack of cigarettes a day is social. Fixation of a broken right ankle in 1998 is personal. Tonsillectomy 25 years ago is personal. Married with 4 children, social. Socially drinks alcohol 1 to 2 a month, social. Mother died, family. Brother diagnosed with colon cancer, family. All right. All right, what do we say if we finish up the KINS book next week and finish up the electronic health records the week after? How does that sound? Because that gives you 3 chapters to do for KINS for next week, and then the last 2, which is 7 and 8, for electronic health records. So that way, Diane, I know that the last 8 chapters you should be able to get done in the next 2 weeks. They're not that much. And then for the ladies doing the sim chart, that gives you this week to focus on KINS and the following week to focus on electronic health records. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so that means that we will finish up February 4th. And I will try to plan mid-March to have the national exam. And I also want to let everyone know that I have gone on to Evolve and checked both courses, so you should have grades in every chapter that you have taken. If you do not, send me an email.
Even the one that we actually didn't have a quiz to take, was it 20?
21, I think
21.
it was, because that's what I was
21.
just going to ask her.
Because that
No.
one doesn't have a grade.
No, it will not have a grade in it.
Okay.
Chapter 21 is the only one you will not have a grade.
Well, I don't
I
have one in
sent that-
15 either, but that's because you deleted that one.
Right, so you're going to have to tell me what you had before.
Oh, I believe it was an 87.
Okay, can you just send it to me in an email
Sure.
and I'll fix it, please?
And
How
I
about
called
mine,
the
Maureen? Oh, go ahead, Diane.
Main community health options this week
Good,
on their chiropractic care.
good.
I'm pretty glad I don't have them. First, you have to pay your deductible. And after that, you have to pay your co-insurance up to 33 visits. After that, on your 34th visit, you need pre-authorization before you can go to that.
And what's the percentage that they want you to pay after you meet probably a $4,000 deductible?
He didn't because he said every plan was different, but
Right.
this was their general, that you pay the deductible and then you pay the co-insurance, and he didn't say what the co-insurance would be on any of the plans.
Most of the people that, most of the patients that I am aware of usually get what is considered to be the silver plan, because they, how do I want to say this? They set up their plans to be very similar to Anthem. So Anthem has several different tiers of plans, and the
Right.
most popular one is the silver plan. And I think that is like a $3,000 deductible, and then the insurance will cover it at 80%, meaning, and then the patient pays 20% up to that 34 visits.
Right.
That's usually how that works. Okay, Jackie, did I have you call on yours?
I use mine, and we have a $3,000 deductible. We pay $20 per visit, and we're able to have up to 24 visits at paying the deductible, and then after that, it's at the 80%.
So do you have Aetna or Cigna?
We have Aetna.
The 24 visits gave it away. Because Cigna's 25. So, all right. So, Ange, what is your takeaway from tonight?
Right now, my takeaway is I think I'm so worried, like in the chapter 23 about the, what is it? Oh no, the chapter 24.
What about chapter 24 bothers you?
I know, because I haven't experienced like this thing, like the financial thing like that, and it's really crazy. I mean, it's very overwhelming to me, and I don't know if I'm good with this. I don't think I'm good.
Well, it depends on what position you will end up in. Because if you end up at front desk, you're going to have to learn to be really good at the financial part. And it's not so much the financial part of running the office as it is collecting money from the patient before they walk out the door.
Okay.
That's what is important. If you become a CMA at the front desk, that is the important piece, is knowing how to collect at the front desk.
Okay.
Have I gone over a day in the life of a front desk person?
No.
All right. We will do that at the end of the course, so you know a day in the life.
I did. I mean, I have an experience to be a front desk, like in our country, the Philippines. Like I went to front desk before in one of the hotels, but I do not do the financing. Like I'm just only welcoming the patient, the guest, something like that. So
Yeah, that's
why I
going to be
have
something
no.
different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to be in that position at first as a CMA. That's something you would work up to.
Okay.
All right, Diane, what's your takeaway?
I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it all. I'm a little worried about the exams at the end, but
They're nothing.
well, that's what my daughter tells me. They're common sense, she says.
Is
Well,
there
she should know, right?
She should know.
Okay.
is there any computation in the exam?
It's all multiple choice.
Multiple choice. But
And
still,
you
there's
can have
number.
you can have some scrap paper.
Okay.
It'll be simple.
Is it on the computer or is it a paper?
Paper.
Paper.
Yeah. Okay, Jackie, what's your takeaway?
My job that I have now, it's an inventory clerk. So I have people coming in trying to ask for parts while I'm trying to do another job. So I thought about that today, how my job is kind of already like a doctor's office, and how you're trying to organize everything while you're trying to do one thing. So I found that chapter 24, being the office manager, there's really a lot that's entailed to it, and that there's a lot of things that you think about. This whole course gives you a lot of different ideas or aspects that you've never really thought that somebody in the office would have to go through. And that for me was the hardest part. 24, like Angie, is for me things to think about.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. So next week we will finish up the KINS book 26, 27, and 28. The following week we will finish up sim charts. So the sooner you get me your mailing addresses, I will get those other study guides out this weekend for you guys. Usually, depending on where you live in Maine, you might get them next day or 2 days. If you don't have any further questions, ladies, thank you very much for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.